Live from the First State, you are listening to the Financial Empowerment Show with the podcast king, Troy Bailey, and the finance queen, Awanda Hodge. The Financial Empowerment Show, creating new fiscal standards one home at a time. Give us a call now at 877-829-1099. That's 877-TAX-1099. And now, here's Troy and Awanda.
Welcome on. We want to welcome you to another edition of the Financial Empowerment Show. I am your host, the podcast king himself, Troy Bailey. And to my right is the finance queen herself, Awanda Hodge.
Hello, everyone.
We are excited to be here once again to empower you on your finances. Listen, hit that subscribe button, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get the latest shows and encouragement on your finances. We're here to help you to control your cash flow, eliminate debt, and to build wealth. Yep. Also, go to our website. Where's our website, Awanda?
It's at www.financialempowermentshow.com, or you can call us at...
There's a number.
What is it? It's down the bottom. 1-877-829-1099.
That is correct.
So catchy.
It's so catchy. 1099. All right. That's a tax form for those tax gurus out there. All righty. So we're excited. We're gonna dive right into our show.
Yes.
We have why home ownership.
This is a big topic.
This is a big topic.
A lot of
people are getting homes today. The home market at the time of this recording is what? It is booming.
It's on fire.
It's on fire.
Yes.
All right. And so we're going to get right into it because home ownership, I believe, is the foundation to build wealth.
I agree for several reasons. And we can get into those reasons, but I feel like you take yourself out of the inflation realm when you purchase a home.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you're a renter, your rent is going to be constantly going up every year. You know, you're going to be paying to move and all these other expenses. So being a homeowner is like the foundation to just, you know, setting yourself on the path. Now, I understand everyone that's not their dream.
It's not their dream.
No, it's funny because once I had a conversation with an old friend of mine, and I always thought that was like the American dream, everyone's dream. And
the American dream.
Yeah, he said to me, like, I don't want to own a house. I don't want all that responsibility. Like, I want to live in a high-rise building or something like that, which is fine because there are places, you know, you can buy a condo in a high-rise building and still have ownership.
That is correct. But you have condo fees.
You do, but everybody's dream is just not to own a home. So, you know, wherever you can get that in, where you have ownership of where you live, some ownership is a win.
It's a win.
It's a win.
And I like what he said. He don't want that responsibility because owning a home is a big responsibility. You got to be your own bookman.
Oh,
already,
Lord.
Your own janitor.
For those of you out there that don't know who Bookman is, because again, Troy's showing his age by bringing up Good Times.
Okay, all right.
He's the maintenance guy, so he's absolutely right. You're the maintenance person. There is no calling the maintenance person. You have to make sure that your home is maintenance, and when something breaks, you have to have the funds.
That is correct.
To fix those things.
That is right. So, you got to be your own plumber. You got to show your own cleavage while you're under the sink. Okay? These are things you have to do. And you got to listen, if you're married, you got to listen to your wife. Harry, you don't do it that way. Call the plumber, Harry.
Oh my gosh.
And you telling her, listen, I know how to do this. I'm going to save some money. I'm going to fix it myself.
And just listen, every job is not a do-it-yourself.
It's not.
For you,
it's not.
For you men out there that think you can do it yourself for everything.
Speaking like a wife.
Some things is just better to just, you know, call someone.
Now listen, I was born in Philadelphia, and she's right about one thing. I am not a green thumb. All right, I don't like raking leaves. I don't like cutting grass. I have a friend of mine said, "Why don't you grow some garden and some herbs?"
Right.
Listen, I'm not a green thumb. All right. Listen, I will gladly pay you to come to my house and grow some herbs and some basil and some thyme. I have no problem with that. But she's right. Everything in the house is not do it yourself.
It's not. But there are also lots of advantages.
It is.
For me, I feel like a big advantage is that you're building equity,
Yeah.
legacy, because you have something to pass down.
That is correct.
Leverage, when you're a homeowner, you have leverage. You can
Yes, you
leverage your
do.
home for other things. So there are lots of
Advantages of owning your own home.
Right. But let's just get into like the definition.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Of real estate and
Real estate, the definition of real estate. Let me see. Let me put my glasses on so I can see the definition of. We actually do have notes, y'all. We just got bullet points to help you out, to encourage you, all right? The definition of real estate. In the United Kingdom, the Crown, all right, everyone looking at Netflix show, all righty, is held to be the ultimate owner of all property in the realm. You believe that?
I don't watch that Netflix show, so
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, you're asking me about the definition?
Woo! No, the Crown. So the Crown.
Oh, is that the Crown?
Yeah, they own all real estate. All right. The fact is material when, for example, the property has been disclaimed by its erstwhile owner, in which case the law of estate applies. In some other jurisdiction, not including the United States, real property is held absolutely.
So what does that mean? What does that mean to you? Like,
That-
what does this definition mean?
You know what that means to me? You never, and we got notes. You never ever really own your own home. Stop paying the taxes.
Okay, so you'll still owe taxes.
Right. Number one, when you buy a home, you have the 30-year note. All righty. So now the who owns a home? The bank does. Okay. Technically speaking.
Technically.
All righty. After you finish paying the note, which you should pay it off in 15 years. All right. Then you do own the home. But if you stop paying taxes, guess who owns it?
The county.
The county or the municipality that you live in. That is correct. So your home will always have a what?
I mean, there'll always be something to be paid.
That is
right?
correct.
There will. However,
What's the however?
I mean, if you're a renter, if you're not, a homeowner,
Right.
then you're going to be paying a lot more than
That is
what
correct.
I would just be
Correct.
paying on my taxes once I pay my home off.
That is correct. So there are advantages of having a home. I just threw it out for statistic purposes. Listen, don't get alarmed. Don't get upset at the government. Don't get upset at England. You all right?
And just so you guys know, like, Troy loves statistics.
Okay.
I'm not sure why.
Y'all football
but
fans out there, you
he
know why
loves
we love statistics.
I guess it does give you some perspective when you look at the
That is
statistics.
correct.
But for me, I just, when you're getting your financial strategy together, just like we spoke about,
Right.
This line item is like a heavy item when we're working with people because
It is.
either your rent is probably the largest bill that you have, or
That is
your mortgage
correct.
is probably the largest bill that you have.
That is correct.
And this is a major thing that we work with people. This is a lot of the reason why they want to get a financial strategy, maybe because they want to purchase a home.
Correct.
So this is a big, big, big thing.
It's a big responsibility, a big step. And just to piggyback off what Awanda said, 33 to 35% of your net budget goes to what? Housing.
Yeah.
That's your largest percentage of what you bring home. Because even if you get an apartment, when the real estate people look at that, what do they say? How much do you make?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If your rent is $1,000, all right, this is a little barometer that they use. A lot of people think because my credit's bad or this, that, the other. They actually looking at how often. So if your rent is $1,000, right, and you get paid bi-weekly, you have to earn $500 every 2 weeks to bring home.
In order to afford that.
That is correct. That
Which
is correct.
totally makes sense because you're gonna have other responsibilities outside of housing.
That is correct.
So you have to be able
and
to
they
afford
do
that.
they do the 33 to 35% rule. So 33 to 35% is for your housing. If you don't have that, you're going to be tight and you can't afford that a rent. Or actually, mortgage does that as well. What do they call that in mortgage?
Debt to income.
That is
ratio?
correct. Debt
Yep.
to income ratio. That is correct.
So let's break down some of these reasons on why be a homeowner.
Okay.
Equity. Let's talk about equity.
Equity is very good when you own a home. Equity is this. So, say you buy your home for $100,000, all right? 10 years down the road, you have paid off $80,000, just to say, to keep the math simple, you have $20,000 of what? Equity in your home. That way, so you paid off $20,000 of principal. Now, your equity might be higher in the event that you bought the home for $100,000, but now it's worth $150,000, but you still paid off $20,000.
Right.
So the difference between what it's worth and what you bought it for, plus what you paid off, that's your real equity.
And in a market like we're in today, where houses are actually selling above
Exactly.
like what we might feel like they're worth. They're selling above and beyond. I mean, someone who's actually been in their home for some time can actually capitalize on or cash out on, if they want to, a large amount of equity, which can give you leverage in building wealth. Because if you're a homeowner and you've been in your house for some time and you have, say, over $100,000 in equity, I mean, that might be an opportunity for you.
That is
correct. That might be an opportunity for you. If you want to talk about it deeper, email me.
Have
email
a financial
Troy.
strategy of the equity. Listen, I encourage you this. Don't take that equity to go on vacation, to go skiing.
No.
You know what I mean? You want to take that equity to do what? Build wealth.
Right.
To get your financial foundation and future in order.
Now, you guys know, again, Troy and I opinions are always, sometimes on opposite ends. I'm going to say, if you're in a debt situation and you can leverage your equity to pay down some high interest debt, I would say it's a good idea.
Oh my God.
I would say it's a good idea.
Are you serious?
I would.
Wanda, you telling me to people that take equity out of their home to get rid of debt?
I would.
Oh my God.
If I have something that is very high interest, I mean, Troy, I see people every day that come to me and work with me. They have like these loans that are astronomical. I mean, they're 23%, interest that they're paying.
APR.
Right. They're paying interest to these predatory lenders. They're in this cycle of debt where they're barely getting by. They're barely paying the minimum payment. If you have this asset, that's the whole purpose of having an asset. So that you're not living, beneath your means, not beneath your means, but you're not living pillar to post. You're not living where you're barely getting by.
But that choice that they choose to get that debt, now they're sacrificing an asset that can help them build the foundation to build wealth.
Well, I think that's perspective. I don't feel like you're sacrificing your asset because you still have the asset. You're just leveraging it. You're leveraging what you have because maybe you've gotten into a poor situation. Now, I'm not saying live in that cycle. I'm not saying just accumulate debt. No. Get on a plan. Get with a professional. But if you need to leverage, to me, that's the whole purpose of having these things in place. Is just like your emergency fund. You're not gonna have an emergency fund built, and then when you get into a situation where you need it, you don't use it. That's why you're putting these things in place, so that if you ever need it, you can use it. And there are some situations where people out here are in really bad situations. They may have payday loans. They may have had to take out
loans. Oh my God.
Yeah, they may have had to take out, some emergency funds for something that was actually an emergency. They may have had to bury a loved one. They may have just had all these crazy situations that have come up during this crazy pandemic where they needed access to cash. If you have, I would say a good amount of equity.
Okay.
Don't go leveraging $10,000 or $20,000, which the bank is not going to let you take out the maximum.
No,
I think they only let you take 80%.
A certain percentage. Right. I would say this, Awanda brings up some good points. If you're in that situation, all right, and this number one, the title of the show is Why Home Ownership. All right, that's one of the reasons why. But number one, if you are in a debt-ridden situation, what you need to do is have a budget. Go to the website, get your budget in order, make plans to get a budget so you can eliminate your debt. That's very important. I have a personal sad story, and it affects my heart personally. And the example that she gave, that I know a person in my family that actually leveraged their home to get rid of debt. All right. The home was worth $150,000. They leveraged it off of a $50,000 of debt. He couldn't pay the debt, and they took the home.
So in what case? What did he take? Equity loan or equity line of credit? Like, how did that happen?
Okay.
Or did he refinance? I'm just curious.
Oh, wow. I'll have to cut that one out.
I'm just curious because I mean I feel like in all the situations that I've seen, not to say that couldn't happen, but the bank is still going to do their due diligence before they extend you something in your equity, you know, to make sure that this is still something within your means.
Okay, what happened is this. So the house was paid for.
Okay.
He got into debt.
Okay.
The debt was over $50,000. So in order to, he used his house as collateral for the $50,000. When he couldn't, when he went into hardship and he couldn't pay the $50,000, they took the home.
Well, it sounds like he didn't go into it with the plan.
That is correct. That is
mean,
correct.
Did he have? I probably, you know, my brain, you know, is gonna work in a financial way, and I'm gonna have other questions to say. Did he have income? Why, you know, what happened here? But obviously he didn't have a plan going in.
That is correct.
So
that is correct.
I wouldn't suggest you to leverage anything. I wouldn't say your home, your 401k, anything. I wouldn't even suggest you to go into buying a home without a plan.
That is correct.
So you have to have a plan, because if you don't, this is when these type of situations happen. But I do feel like that can happen also even without using equity. I mean, someone can lose their job and lose their home.
That is correct.
You know,
that
so
is correct.
these situations do happen. You have to look at your own individual situation and weigh out what's best for you, because if you're paying out more than half of your paycheck a month on just interest,
oh my God,
which
yes.
happens
And
very often.
And I've been in that situation.
Right. If you're just paying it on interest, or you're just paying minimum payments, which if you're paying a minimum payment on anything, you're not paying down the debt.
That's a forever loan.
Right. So you have to look at what you're doing and see what's the best strategy.
That is why it's so important to why home ownership. Number one, preparation. Get your budget in order. Number two, how much home can I afford? That's very important. Number three, have either you get a 30-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage. Now, most experts says the 15-year mortgage, 15 years is more advantageous.
I don't really care for the 15-year mortgage, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I feel like you can do the same thing. You can do it yourself.
In the 30, that is correct.
You don't need to.
We agree, y'all. I agree with that.
Finally,
that is correct.
we agree.
There you go.
You don't need the bank to give you a 15-year mortgage and stifle yourself into that.
That is correct,
payment.
because if something happens,
Right.
you can't pay the mortgage,
Right.
the whole 9 yards. So
it's going to be a larger payment.
Right,
So
right.
you can get a 30-year mortgage that
And
may be
pay-
better within your budget, and then just pay extra on it.
That is correct.
And still pay your mortgage off in 15 years.
That is correct.
Or hey, when you're getting these people that get income tax returns, or
There you
people that
go.
if you're getting bonuses on your job, take that opportunity to make an extra payment.
That is correct.
Principal payment on your mortgage to pay it down faster.
Yep.
And getting back to the point that you made with how much home can you afford. So have your budget in place before you go to get pre-approved or go to a loan officer.
That is correct.
Because the amount that they may be approving you for may be over what
you can afford.
Right, what you actually can afford, because they're looking at they have their calculation when they're calculating your
correct.
debt to income ratio, but it may not be a comfortable number for you. So you need to have that number already in place, what you can afford.
That's right. This is a personal story. When my wife and myself, we bought our home, we had 5 criteria. One of the criteria was how much we're going to pay for the mortgage. All right.
Great
now,
criteria.
After getting the home, all right, I say, okay, I'm paying this off in 15 years. All right. So now we allocate a certain amount of money towards our principal payments, so we can reduce that interest we pay over the 30-year, right? After that home is paid, this is, I believe, you can leverage your home. That mortgage payment you were paying, now you can do what? Invest. There you go. Invest that. So, and guess what? So after your house is paid, you have 100% of what? Equity. Wow. So if you paid $100,000 for that home in 15 to 25 years, now that home is worth $200,000 and it's paid off, you're in a good financial situation.
I mean, you don't have to wait until your home is paid off to be in a good financial situation.
No, you don't. You don't.
Listen, if you're paying your mortgage payment, you know, you have very little debt, you know, everything's being paid on time. You're in a good financial situation. If you can invest
if you got it
money,
flowing,
if it's flowing, you're not
that is correct.
in a frenzy. You're in a good financial situation. You're setting yourself up to be able to invest more and more and more.
That's a long term.
It's a long-term thing,
She's correct. She's correct.
Right.
So we're just looking at 10, 15 years down the road when that time comes. You know what I mean? So that way, so the money we're investing today, it almost doubles because you don't have that mortgage payment.
Right.
Okay. So that's so listen, if you want to get your budget in order, if you want to show how to pay that mortgage off in 30 years and 15 years, give us a call, 877-829-1099. We will help and walk you through how to set up your budget, how to prepare to get your home, and those homeowners who's watching now, how to reduce your 30 year to 20 years, 15 years, and so on and so forth. So we're here for you.
Before we get into the caller, Troy, I just wanted to touch on legacy, which was one of my points on why home ownership.
Legacy, that is correct.
How many of us know people who inherited a home? I feel like it's very few.
Very few.
It's not a lot.
I know more people who lost their home because they didn't have their financial situation in order, and so when that person passed away, guess what happened? Probate.
Yeah.
Nursing home took it, the whole 9 yards. That's why it's so important to get a hold of Awanda Hodge at financialempowermentshow.com.
Yeah, so we can
send her an email.
Right, we can talk through those things and work through them and have the things in place so that your home, your parents or your grandparents'
that is correct,
won't get taken. But for me, I feel like legacy is being able to have something to pass down to the next generation so that they're not starting from the beginning like we started. Like it's so great to be able to say, hey, my dad or my mom, this was our family home. It was passed down,
correct,
to me, and then I have my home, that I purchased also. It's building foundations. It would be so great, right, for your grandkids to be able to grow up in the home that you and your wife built. Like how wonderful.
I do apologize, y'all. I got a tickle in my throat, and it's tickling on this podcast. I do apologize, and I was listening to Awanda. That is correct. That you have assets you can pass on down to your kids and your grandchildren, and that's so important. That is what not only legacy but generational what. Wow. Generational wealth. So we're going to go to our caller right now. We have a caller about home ownership. Her name is Nancy. Okay, Nancy, what's your question?
Yes, I wanted to ask a question. I want to purchase a home.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully in the coming year. And I just want to know, is it really important to have a large amount of saving in order for me to be able to do this?
And okay, so let me get this question straight. That you want to purchase a home within a year, you said?
Yes, like for next year.
Oh, for next year, and you want to know if you need a large amount of savings.
If she needs a large amount of savings.
All right, that's a very good question. You want to tackle that first, Awanda?
Sure. Because, so let me just ask: will you be a first-time home buyer? Is this your first time?
Yes, it will be.
Okay. So I guess the word large amount of savings might be a little relative because what I think might be large might not be large to you. What you think may be large might not be large to me. But I would say that as a first time home buyer, you're definitely gonna have programs out there that are gonna be available to you to help you with down payment and settlement.
Mm-hmm.
So you might not need as much money as someone else that's not a first-time home buyer. I would definitely say that you would want to get your financial strategy in place beforehand. Get a savings before you get to that process, and an emergency fund, because even if you don't need a large amount to purchase the home, you're gonna need to show the bank to get approved that you do have some savings, and you're gonna need to be prepared once you do purchase the home. So I would say if that's your goal, to definitely add that as a line item on your, your budget spreadsheet, home savings, and get in the habit of, get in the habit of putting that savings aside. But the amount would definitely, you probably need, right, it depends on the size of the home that you're going to buy.
That is correct.
You need to get with a loan officer to see
a mortgage.
Yeah, what your mortgage amount would be and how much you would need for savings. So I can't give you a specific answer, but I will say you'll need less than maybe the average person that this is not their first time.
I would say this, Nancy, and everything Awanda said is excellent. They have programs out there for first home-time buyers. And the home that I had built before, like I was telling before, from the foundation, I went through that program. Yeah. It was phenomenal. Now, at the time I did purchase the home, my income was above, or I couldn't take advantage of that program. However, the knowledge that they taught me to buy a home, I still have it today. So I would say, number one, start with your budget. You have to see how much home you can afford. Because we believe this, me and my wife, personal story, we had a 5-year plan to buy a home, alrighty? It took us 3 years to get there because opportunities presented itself. So we tell people, have at least a 2 to 3 year plan when you buy a home. You just can't wake up one year and say, I'm gonna buy a home, because guess what? You got to know how much income you have. They have to have 3 years of taxes. Yeah. You have to go through, you have to understand what you're doing, because the market out there is a lot of predators out there.
It is.
And you can take it, and they can take advantage of your lack of knowledge in buying a home.
Right. I wanted to just throw in there really quickly, because I just was talking to my godson about this. Just because the bank pre-approves you for a certain amount doesn't mean that that's the amount of house that you need to buy.
That is correct.
And you have to know your own personal budget and what you can afford, because they may qualify you for a $300,000 home, but that might be exhausting everything that you have, and you don't want to put yourself in that type of situation.
You don't want your home to own you.
Right.
You want to own your home.
Right. So I hope that we were able to give you, a little insight and answer your question, but definitely have your budget in place.
Yeah, I encourage you to go online, to hit the resource button and get that budget in place so you can see how much. And then when you call a mortgage, a lender, they can help you as well. Call a reputable lender who's not just going to take you through the process. Listen, if they're rushing you through the process, stop. Say, listen, slow down, find another one. Because this is your first time. Yeah. If they're not answering your questions, the whole 9 yards. Listen, I went through several lenders because they wasn't taking time out with me.
Right. And just know they work for you.
They work for you.
So don't, even your realtor, I don't know what state you're in. If you're in Delaware,
yes, I'm in Delaware.
Yeah, so you can, if you're in Delaware, you can send me an email. I know some really great lenders, reputable lenders, reputable realtors that will walk you through the process, that won't rush you, that will help you get to the steps where you need to be. But just always know, like, these people are working for you. At the end, when you settle, they're getting paid. Yeah, they're working for you.
That is correct.
Don't let them, force you into something that is going to long-term not be cohesive for you.
Correct. That's a good question, Nancy. Thanks for listening, tuning into the Financial Empowerment Show. Listen, tell your friends and family about us, and we look forward to seeing your email and giving us a call. You have a wonderful day.
Same to you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right, that was a great call.
That was a great call, Nancy. Great question. Yeah. That was wonderful.
So we just want to go over a few statistics that we pulled together for you guys. So
where you get the statistics from, Awanda? We got to let the people know.
You got these statistics. I have
I
no
didn't.
idea where you got these things from.
Motvy.com. That's the source. Okay.
So from 2009 to 2019,
10-year span.
the U.S. home ownership rate decreased by 2.1%. I wonder why. Why do you think that is?
Wow, because actually 2009, we were just getting out of that
Was there a recession?
Yeah, in 2008 and 7.
So that makes sense.
That
so
is
people
correct.
are not, they didn't want to buy homes in recession.
Alrighty. The average age of American home ownership is 54.
That is so shocking.
That is. Listen, y'all, what you call them, millennials, Generation X, whatever your generation is, if you're 25 or 30, listen, think home ownership.
Yes. I'm trying to get my sons to think in that way right now. Like, I want them to rent for a short period of time. I mean, I would think that the goal should be, maybe around 30.
Listen, I'm glad you brought it.
Right?
I have a personal story. Let me tell my personal
What's your
story.
personal story?
I was working at a factory here at the First State, and I was working with this guy. All out of the blue, he says, "You know what? I met my goal." I said, "What's your goal?" He said, "I bought a house before I was 30."
Yeah.
I went home flabbergasted.
Why?
I never had a goal like that.
You know what? I never had a goal either, but I believe I was 24 when I bought my first home.
24, the finance queen.
And I
That's
never
why
had
she's
a
the
goal,
finance
but
queen.
I had great examples.
Okay.
So
okay.
I had great examples. I will say that my mom was a great example. I had other people in my life that were great examples.
Right.
So I didn't have a goal, but once I purchased a
once you
home,
got
I
it?
could see
Right.
the benefits. Yeah.
But when he said that, it just like it got the motor rolling. I went to the first Home Buyer program. You know what I mean? I'm looking for homes. I got discouraged because, oh man, these homes they too much. I can't afford them. So I had to get my budget together.
Yep.
The whole 9 yards. And I did meet that goal. I did buy a house before I was 30.
See?
My first house.
But this is not the average Americans.
I
54.
know.
I mean, you're going to be going into retirement.
Yeah,
soon at
54, 30 years. That's what? 84 years before you pay off your house.
Well,
I don't want to be 70 or 80 with a mortgage. How about you?
No.
Nope.
No,
I want just liquid cash.
Yeah.
Cash coming in.
But
Let's change that
this
statistic
is right.
around.
This is why we're here. This
That
is
is
why there's
correct.
so many other resources out here for people to tap in, because maybe people are just not coming to the point where they're realizing that this is something that they need to do until they're
Correct,
older.
correct.
So I feel like maybe if we can get the information out to a younger group of people,
Generation,
yes.
audience, demographics, whatever you want to call yourself.
and let them see the benefits
Right.
of home
Homeowner-
ownership.
Remember back in the day when they called them starter homes? You
Yeah.
buy your little townhome first and
Yeah,
you
that's
work
what
your
I
way
heard.
up.
Yes, it's nothing wrong with that.
But now I'm seeing people in our tax business where they're buying homes, first time home buyer, $300,000, $400,000.
It's just a different time.
It's just the way the market moved.
Yeah.
All right.
I was reading an article about millennials, and they were saying that a new trend is that a lot of younger people in their 20s are actually buying multi-dwellings while they're in college.
Okay.
And then, renting out the other side and living there.
Right.
And that's their starter home. So once they do get to the point where they're ready to
Right.
move on, I mean, they already have a cash cow, which I think is a great
It is
idea.
that's a wise strategy.
I think
That
it's
is
a great
correct.
idea.
That is correct. That's what we're talking about. To empower you. Get those financial strategies so you can think of your future. Listen, I know I have clients who say, okay, I want to get a home. They don't know where their tax return is. They don't know how much money they make. You know what I mean? They're self-employed. You know what I'm saying? So now they got to use their Schedule C. Listen, preparation, and preparation.
Because there's a lot of documents that go along
That
with
is correct.
going through the process of becoming a homeowner.
That is correct.
So definitely give yourself, I would say, at the least a year
the
and
least.
a half
At the
to
least.
start gathering, your documents,
Right.
all these things that you're going to need to actually go through the process, because it definitely is a process. It's not something that you just wake up and then you do tomorrow.
No. What's the next statistic here? Only 59% of U.S. housing markets. Rent. You know what? I'm trying to read this thing without my glasses, Awanda.
Come on.
Here we go. Remember tools and resources.
Only 32% of American millennial households own their homes.
32%. Let's get that number up, millennials. How you say that word?
Millennials?
Yeah, what she says. Let's get that number up. Alrighty.
So we have a quote for you guys this week.
Alrighty.
Go ahead, Troy. You want to read to the people?
I
what
like
the
this quote
is?
right here because we are broadcasting from the first state. I like this statistics before I read the quote.
Oh, you're back. We're back on statistics.
Yeah, we're back on statistics. It says Delaware has the highest rate of home ownership by state.
But that's,
Go first state.
No, but you know how small of a state Delaware is, so it's probably very easy.
Just because we're the second smallest state in the country. Okay.
I guess.
All right. I'm voting for the home state. All righty. What's our quote of the week, Awanda? Read our quote of the week.
All right. I'm going to give it to you guys. It says, we need to intentionally invest in health, in home ownership, in entrepreneurship, and in access to democracy and economic empowerment. If we don't do these things, we shouldn't be surprised that racial inequality persists because inequalities compound. And that's by Pete Buttigieg? How do you pronounce his?
Pete Buttigieg. It's Pete Buttigieg.
Oh, right. I'm just tearing his last name.
He turns in. He's the head of the national, what do you call it? Department of Transportation here.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And that's a great quote. And he's right. Economic empowerment. We need to teach the entrepreneurship and home ownership. Because being an entrepreneur and being a home ownership helped me leverage what I have today, me and my wife have today. That is a very good quote. Listen, we're running out of time. As you can hear, we are running out of time of the Financial Empowerment Show. We want to thank you for tuning in. Listen, hit the subscribe button. Call us at 877-829-1099. Go to the website. Get your budget. Prepare for that home ownership. And we will see you next time on the Financial Empowerment Show.
See you guys next week.
That wraps up this segment of the Financial Empowerment Show. Until next time, send us your questions to info@financialempowermentshow.com. Whether you earn $13,000 a year or $130,000 a year, let Troy and Awanda help you grow your money tree.